All right, third period. I'm sorry. No, what are you, seventh period? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do this. They're just making me go to training, so I won't be here. So I'm just going to have the sub play this. Oh my goodness, sorry. Sixth period doesn't understand that I'm recording yet. We'll get there eventually. I'm just going to go through the same things that I'm going to go with them that I would with you, and we'll talk about it, okay? I might have a packet for you, and I might cut this short. I haven't decided yet. Okay. Let's go over the bell ringer first. What's the 9-letter word?
Hurricane.
Hurricane. Hurricane. Very good. That one's the easier 9-letter word we've seen, right? Because the R's are together and canes together and everything like that. What about the missing number? Did you guys get the missing number yet?
No.
No one?
8.
14. Did you get 14 too?
I got 14.
How'd you get 14?
Because it's a pattern.
It is a pattern, right? Did you go through and define what every little symbol was worth?
No.
What did you do?
Because it says 23 and 24.
All right.
And then 18.
Someone finds it that way, and I don't know how that works as far as patterns go. It's actually, and maybe it's a pattern, I don't know about it, but I'll give it to you. Why not? You got it right. I mean, it works for you. I don't know. People who do it in patterns, it doesn't make sense to me. How did you do it?
Because I'm smarter than you.
You figured out each symbol? Okay, so let's go through it. Hey, shh. Alana, let's not do that right now, okay? Go through the symbols with me. So what's this one?
Number
3?
pound.
Okay, what about the ampersand? What's that? 4? Okay, what are the other symbols? What's the pound sign?
That's not a pound sign. It's a euro.
No. What? 5? This is a euro.
Oh. That was
Yeah.
the next.
What? Okay, what's the next sign? Okay. 8. You figured it out? How'd you figure it out? Just through trial and error? You just guessed? Okay. 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 So you figured out what each one is out of that? All right, fair enough. Or, what's another way you could do it?
My way.
No, your way's weird. How'd you do it?
Well,
You just guessed?
we just got the answer from the rest of it. And that worked.
All right, what do we know about addition?
Add.
Are we adding up all the numbers?
No.
Yes. Okay, let's go through it this way. You guys will figure it out as we go along. What are the numbers on the right side? What? Whoa, shh. What are the numbers on the right side? 23, 18, 24, and 15. We add those up. 3 plus 8 is 11, plus 4 is 15, plus 5, 20. Right? We carry the 2. 2 plus 2 is 4, 5, 8. 80. Okay? What about the other numbers?
24,
Okay, 24, 17, and 25, right? And then we have a question mark. So what we do is we just add these up. Okay? 4 plus 7 is 11, plus 5 is 6. 3 plus 3, 66. The bottom has to equal the side. 80 has to equal 66, but we're missing a number. So 80 minus 66 equals 14. Right? Right. Okay, let's see how many words we got. Count up your words.
3.
Just count them up. You got 3? I'm going to move you, I think.
It's a big word. Well, I only have 3. I didn't even ask him. I just did it up.
Okay. Everybody who got 4 or more, raise your hand. 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Shut up. 20, 22. How many do we get? 20? Oh, nice. 20. Very good. Very good job. That one's a hard one. I take it back. You're right. If you didn't get that many on this one, it's a harder one to get a lot of words out of. The first 4 questions should have taken most of your time because you're supposed to be looking inside and saying, how can I be better? What can I do? How can I improve? What was good? What was bad? What am I changing? And then that's how we get better every time, right? We perpetually are getting better. Or worse. But you're always changing. All right, should we start out with a story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Story time.
Okay, so before we start this, you guys need to remind me, what is a creation story?
When you create something, it was created by somebody else.
Okay, so it's the story of how the world is created. Okay? Most cultures, most ideas have a creation story. How did things start? They want a good story. When we talked about Rome, the creation story of Rome is of Romulus and Remus. Remus gets too big for his britches and Romulus kills him. And then he founds a city. I guess there's more to that, I'm sure. But, I mean, there's a creation story is the point. And each religion has a creation story. The creation story I want to talk about today is the one of Hinduism. Hinduism. Okay? So let me tell you the creation story of Hinduism. The god... You know what? Actually, this little girl tells it a lot better than I do.
This is a little girl.
Yeah?
Can you
Uh-huh.
show us a video?
It's just me saying it in a high voice?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. What? I saw it earlier. So this is actually a really good concept of Hindu creationism. No. Hey, will you hit those lights? You're going to erase the board. By the way, third period who's listening to this, I want to thank you again for being so good. If you can tell, this is what I deal with most of the day. So just, I appreciate it. All right. So this is a pretty good video. The one thing that I think is interesting is when he talks about the creation of animals. The little girl says, she says, the God allowed animals to what's it called? Evolve, which is just adapting the story to the new concept of evolution. This is not how it would originally have gone. That's probably the only change. Nope.
Before time began, there was no heaven, no earth, no space, just nothing. The waves of vast dark ocean lapped on the edges of this nothingness, and a giant cobra floated in the waters. Lying asleep in the snake's coils was Lord Vishnu, and the snake kept him safe, and he slept really peacefully.
Oh.
Slowly, a sound started. It grew louder and filled the emptiness. It throbbed with energy and drove the nothingness away. Lord Vishnu woke up, and a magnificent lotus flower grew from his navel. Right in the middle of the flower sat Brahma. Lord Vishnu told Brahma to set to work and create a world. And still, sitting in the flower, Brahma calmed the wind, stilled the waves, and brought peace. Brahma split the lotus flower, making 3 different parts: the heavens, the earth, and the skies. To start with, the earth was bare, so Brahma created everything: the grass and all kinds of flowers, trees and plants. He gave these the ability to feel. He let living things evolve. so that the earth became full of animals, insects, birds and fish. He gave these the ability to touch and smell, as well as the ability to see, hear and move. Soon the world was alive with life, and the air was filled with the sounds of Brahma's creations. So, Hindus have many ways of thinking about God. As part of this, they say there is one God, but use different names for God when he does different things. When God creates, he is called Brahma, and when God looks after the creation, he is called Vishnu. But God has a third name. At some time, God will decide to bring this universe to an end, and as Lord Shiva, he will destroy the universe.
Now, let me turn that back on. We learned a couple of things here. Okay, and you should be writing this down as we go on. So if you don't have a paper, pull it out now. The first thing we learned is this. Is the holy symbol is a sound. It's called the holy Om. Okay. It's called the holy Om. Oh, there's a couple of different ways. You can spell it O-M or A-U-M. Om or Om, okay? And this sound just comes out of nothingness. And these gods are ready to go. Okay? The sound is eternal, the gods are eternal, the universe is not. It is said, to supplement that creation story, it is said that this happens. It is said that the god, Brahma, the creator god, right? And she had a concept that there are many different names of God. Let's start with this concept here. Hindus believe in a circular way of life. Circular. Okay? So it is very circular. And this is crucial to understand. Okay? It's not a line. Things don't happen. Everything happens in patterns. And they are circular. Right? And so you have Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Okay? Now, in order to understand things being circular, what we're going to do is we're going to say this. Okay? Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the destroyer, Vishnu is the preserver, Vishnu is the destroyer. But they're all the same person, they're just different avatars is the name. That's where the movie Avatar gets that from, right? Because you're something different than you are, but you're the same person. It's just different versions of the same God. Yes, actually hundreds of millions. So there's tons of different gods. These are the three main ones, but because of how so many times it's been created, and every time it gets created, the god comes back as something different. Exactly. Yeah. And so this time, the three main avatars, well, Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu are kind of like eternal. They'll happen for the different durations of the planet. But I think for the time that this universe is going to exist, according to Hindu philosophy or religious practice, I think that these three guys, I'm not exactly totally sure on those, but I do know this, as far as time goes, they have a different concept of time. So Brahma, but these guys last forever, and they're not changing. Brahma, okay, and again, Brahma is the one we really need to work on the spelling on. Okay, it's very important that it's Brahma, because we're going to learn a couple of other words that are very close. But Brahma, with no N and no I, that is the God of creation. Okay? Brahma. So Brahma creates the earth. Now one day of creation for him is, one day equals roughly about 4 billion of our days. Okay? About 4 billion days. Now, that just means, that could mean like eternally. I mean, it's kind of like a number back when it originally comes out. It just means a lot, right? It just means tons and tons and tons of his days, right? It's a number that you couldn't even imagine back then, 4 billion. Okay? So one day equals 4 billion of his days. Okay? Now, every time that Brahma goes to sleep, the earth is destroyed. Okay? The earth will be destroyed, and then when he wakes up through him and through Vishnu, the earth is then created again. Okay? So it's circular. Every night he goes to sleep, the earth is destroyed. Okay? There's been many earths. This is just one of the versions. Okay? This circular idea that it will continue to happen. It goes around and around and around and around. So it's happened before, it will happen again. Now in his lifetime, right, when he dies, like he's done with life, that's when the universe gets destroyed. Okay? And then the universe will come again. And to kind of give you a scope of how big they think that, or how long they think that things have been around, in Hinduism, Hindus think that things have been around. They say that there are as many universes as there are drops of water in the Ganges River. Right? It's this huge river. If you think about it, a drop of water. That's how many universes go into this, how many times there have been. So they've all happened before, they'll all happen again. But it's very circular. Does that make sense? You have this concept of things happening again. So Shiva, being a destroyer, is not a bad thing. Because you need to destroy stuff in order to create it again. Right? So in a circular concept, the destroyer is not a bad idea. Okay, it's not bad. You need it almost. He's sometimes known as the destroyer / recreator, because without him there's no recreation. Does that make sense? Without Shiva. So Shiva, without him destroying things, then things wouldn't be created again. Yes?
So where does Vishnu come in? Like Brahma goes to sleep and so he's Vishnu?
Well, no. They all simultaneously exist at the same time. Okay? Even though they're different versions, they all can exist at the same time. And there's many stories where they're all kind of talking. Okay? So Vishnu is the one who kind of watches over and preserves the earth and makes sure it doesn't get destroyed until Shiva needs to. Does that make sense? He preserves things. He keeps them in the order that they're in when they need to be. Does that make sense?
Wait, so when Brahma dies, does Shiva destroy it, or does it just...
Shiva destroys it. When Brahma dies, Shiva will destroy the whole universe. And then it will all happen again. Right? They'll all be reborn. And the Holy Om, which is eternal, will sound again. And Vishnu will wake up. Brahma will come out of Vishnu's navel on a lotus flower and recreate everything again. Right? So that's kind of the concept. Does that make sense? Does it? I mean, are there other questions? It's a cycle. Right? It's a cycle. Well, let's learn about this. So that's pretty crucial to understand how Hindus look at the world, right? As cyclical. This world will end, it'll start over again. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. You know what, let's move on to one other concept. Let's move over. Why don't we draw Brahma for a second? Because in order to draw Brahma, when we draw Brahma, we will understand a little better how the okay. So I want you to draw this version of Brahma really quickly. I'll give you about 3 minutes to do it. You might want to spend about a half a page to a page on it, just to get a good picture of him. You don't have to draw it perfectly, okay? Just make sure that you have his heads. He also doesn't need to have 4 heads. I would just draw him with 3 heads. But his heads face every direction. They're symbolic, right? And they're also literal. I mean, this is a man. Yeah, he just has long hair. Why do you always ask? This is a long-haired dude.
He's got girls' features.
Okay, he has girly eyes, you're saying?
And a mouth.
Yeah, it's true.
I see some blue.
That's pets. Oh my goodness. He's a dude. Yes. I wouldn't draw him with 4 heads. In some cases he has 5 heads. He does have 4 heads. But one of them is facing backwards. They just want to show that one to show that he has a 4th head. Does that make sense? He does have 4 heads. He originally had 5 heads, and I'll tell you next time about the story of how he lost his 5th head. Yeah, spoiler alert. But who cut it off and why? But why? He. It was. They're all males.
Oh, they're all white? What kind of name is Shiva for, man? That's the most feminine name now.
I thought Shiva was a female for a while too, but Shiva is definitely a male. They're all males. Does it say she?
Yeah.
How am I wrong on this the entire time? Shiva.
Shiva's a guy.
Shiva.
He has a wife.
Yeah. Straight up. Yeah, and he has concubines. Not only does he have wives, but he has like girlfriends too. I love it. No, I don't like that. I'm not saying that that's good. They're called consorts. Parvati, he's definitely a man. All right, you're done? Why not? Here, I'm going to draw a picture of it. When I'm finished, you're finished.
That's a beautiful face.
Thank you. Oh, we have to draw the lotus flower. All right. Okay, so what I need you to do now, is on his arms, any of his arms, one of them more. You need to draw a line away and write arms. From his mouth, mouth. From his foot, foot. And from his leg, legs. No, you label 4 distinct body parts. The mouth, arms, foot, and legs. And the reason that you label those 4 body parts is because the next thing you are going to do is turn to page 64 and fill in the rest of the graph, okay? These are social classes. Yo.
So body parts represent social classes?
No, just one. Like one from one now.
Oh, it's not.
We're just making this simple. Nice drawing. Okay, it's small, but I like it. Small, but I like it. Joe, talk to me, say it.
Do you just want us to write the name of it or just the word?
I want you to write warriors, priests, and the Hindu word for it. Fill out all 3 words that go with the mouth, all 3 words that go with the feet, all 3 words. Nice. Oh. Hey, that's a nice Shiva over there, nice drama. Good drawing. You. Yeah. I avoid saying names when I'm recording. Oh, good, good. Oh, okay, getting there, getting there. There. Just take a little bit of time. Yeah. Okay, so you should be at page 64 by now. Label all the things, so it'll have Shudra, Kshatriya. Label all 3 of them. I want you to label arms, I want you to label soldiers, I want you to label farmers, I want you to label all of it the way that you should be. Just fill in that kind of graph on your notes. Okay, so fill in the picture you see on page 64 on your notes. Okay, we're learning about Brahma. We'll learn about what it means in a second. Yeah? So it's not like the whole circle follows it perfectly. It's just that the circle shows that it's created, it exists, it dies again, and then it's created again. Does that make sense?
I asked that.
So there's like 3 phases of any life. There's the birth. So 3 phases of any life, just to go over the circle again. So there's the birth, right? And that's creation of the earth, the universe, and whatever. there's your life. That's what you're going through, right? That's your preservation of the earth, of the universe, of whatever. And then there's the death, right? These three big events. And this is how they explain that. Most religions talk about those three things in a lot of depth. All right. So, we're good? You guys understand it? Here's what I want you to do next. On that piece of paper, or on a separate piece of paper, we're taking up too much room. We'll see how it goes. What I want you to do is I want you to write these 5 words and try to define them. Okay? You can work with someone near you if you need to. But these 5 words, sacred, social class, soul, S-O-U-L, clean, and culture. I want you to write those 5 words, and I want you to write what they mean. I want you to define them. Okay? I want you to define them.
So you want like art and
Exactly. If, say, there's someone who doesn't know any of these 5 words, yeah, you can write it on the back, you can write it on a new piece of paper, write it somewhere. Okay? If there's somebody, pretend like somebody doesn't know what these are, you are explaining these 5 words to them. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to finish up your Brahma drawings and a couple of minutes to do this. Let's meet back together in 5 minutes. I will give you 5.
8,
5.
6,
6,
7,
6. Take it.
I don't. How dare you? I do not.
You don't give anyone else to look like that.
What?
It's bad. So we are just write it on the book. There.
Idiot.
Bless.
I can't believe I forgot those. Albanian numbers. Yeah, Drew, Craig, Copper, Josh.
You don't have to do it. There's a little
Right?
the key. No, you need it straight.
What's happening right now? Why?
Your
Your work.
You said we could work together.
Yeah, you ain't working together. You're talking about trains.
Train? He's talking about train.
Stop it.
What do you think we ever used the word train? What station? Really important.
What the what?
why did you kill him so much?
Told you you're drawing Chinese. Whatever. Okay, so you're drawing Chinese. You're gonna kill the Japanese.
No, we do it.
Asian.
Now you're writing those 5 words and you're defining them. All right, we got 3 minutes.
I'm not even. Oh my god.
Why are you starting now? What's your game right now? What's your game? Bring it up. What's your game right now? You got to bring that up. Yeah. Social class, then soul.
What?
It goes social class, then soul.
Person, place, or
It's pretty stiff. Very cool.
just put like 4 middle class and
That is scary. How would you love Taylor? I only got that much done. I want to do the whole thing, so I can
soul.
All right, before I forget, I do want to say, are you guys studying this weekend? For what?
Our test.
Well, a test. What's the test going to be on?
Everything else.
Everything up to this point. Not Hinduism, but you will need to know about the types of religion, okay? And all about the Romans. I might put in a Greek philosopher or two, who knows? But then those 50 questions that you had from that other test, okay? The final. What I think I'm going to do is I might put the test, the final test on the internet, okay? I'll put that as term 1 final, all 50 questions. You can look it up and study from there. Okay, so there will be 25 new questions on it, right?
So we're going to have 75 questions?
Yes.
Did you ever give us back a notes?
I never give them back. Yeah. Totally.
That's pretty good.
Okay. Let's talk about these words. But as I talk about these words, well, let's find out some definitions. Okay, yell out some definitions about these words that we know. Okay, so for example, what's sacred? Pure. Okay, any other guesses to pure? Yes. Okay, something that holds true meaning. Okay, I like that. What else?
Of great spiritual value or worth.
Of great spiritual value or worth. That's a good one. Great spiritual value or worth. It's not every day. It's something you keep close, right? It's something you really care about, right? The best way I think to describe it that I like, and maybe he's a little fanatical, but Gollum, you ever seen that Lord of the Rings? Gollum with the ring? You've never seen Lord of the Rings? Okay. So Gollum with the ring, he thinks that that is a sacred thing. He cares about it. It's great work. What?
Smeagol?
Smeagol. I'm sorry for calling him a different name. That's
No, that's
Little
his
green
name.
guy.
That's what they called him by.
right. Social class. Social class. Okay, what's a social class? You know what? Let's hold off on these for a second. I'm going to go through them as we talk about some different stuff. Okay? Let's hold off on the definitions. I'm glad that you came up with your own, but let's hold off on it. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about some people that live. Okay, and you guys are going to take some notes. But before we do, I want you to tell me some answers. What are the 2 rivers that civilization started around in India? Ganges and the Indus. Very good. The Ganges and the Indus. Now, does anybody remember what the civilization was called that started around there? Indus Valley. Now, the Indus Valley civilization started roughly around here. The interesting thing about the Indus Valley civilization is we know so little about it. We know that it covered roughly 1 million square miles. We know that it had huge cities to rival that of Mesopotamia and Egypt. We know that it had a great culture. We also know that we have found very few weapons of war, which has only ever happened with, from what I know, and maybe it happened in other places, but the big civilizations, the Mayans, are the only ones that we don't find a lot of war. And then later on, as we learned more about them, we found out they were very warlike. We also know that they had, in these cities, they had a type of religion. We don't even know their language. We don't know what it was. We know that their civilization was great, and we know that they had some stuff in their religion. There were two parts to it. Let's go to the first one. The first part of this ancient religion, and you'll write this down as I talk about them, right? Right? Okay. The first one is this. Yeah, we might bring it out again, but you can put them away if you want. Make sure the binding goes north if you want to put your books away. The first one is this. They believed in ritual, cleaning, or purity. And when we talked about clean, what did you write? Yeah. Wait, say it one more time. Pure and no sins. Yes, you write ritual, cleaning, and purity. So her definition for clean was pure with no sins. Okay? That's a great definition for what we're talking about right now. They did ritual cleaning. This is not cleaning the way that you clean. This is not cleaning the way that you're like, hey, employees must wash hands before they go back to work. I got to wash up for dinner. I just went to the bathroom, stuff like this. Okay? They're washing up not to get rid of microbes and germs. They're washing up to get pure again and to get rid of sins. They are washing because they have done something wrong. They're washing because they've touched something wrong. They're washing because they have seen something wrong. Okay? They're washing to become pure again. I can't stress this enough. This isn't like bathing, like, hey, I'm dirty, I'm going to get clean with this soap. This is a ritual thing. You wash the same way. You do the same things. This ritual cleaning is very common. When we get into Islam, we'll see it again, okay? But it's you're cleaning yourself. You're absolving yourself of these sins, these bad things that you've done, okay? You're ritually cleaning yourself again. Now, what is clean and what is unclean, every society has their own idea, okay? We're going to talk about pork. In some religions, pork is unclean. In some religions, cow is unclean. In some religion, women are unclean. In some religion, men are unclean. In some religion, this and all things are clean, all things are unclean, depending on where you go and whatnot. Okay? But the point is you need to get clean here. Okay? And they start out with ritual cleaning and purity. This is a big part of Hinduism that was started by the Indus Valley River civilization. Okay? You have to be ritually clean and pure. The second thing, and this one's not as big, we probably won't talk on it a lot, and I'm sure that you might giggle when I say this, maybe third period was. But two, one thing we very see is the sacred is closely connected to the sexual. Okay? That means we see dolls of women. Okay? We see dolls of men. We see giant stone and clay statues of male and female organs. Okay? You see it all over the place in this civilization. Okay? They would build them out of clay. They would carve them out of stone to show virility, to show fertility. These were very big concepts. Actually, you know what? Let's tell a story. There's actually one story that comes on from here, and this comes a little bit later, after the Indus are done, but it shows how much they do, and I'm going to tell this again. There's a story. You can do a kind of a curse. If you go to the priest, you go to a Brahmin, and you bring him this herb, and you bring him an herb, and it looks like a male genitalia. You bring him the herb that looks like it, and you say the guy's name. Say you have an enemy, you bring him his name, and you want to make him a eunuch. And what the priest will do is he'll create a ritual, and he'll put the herb, and he'll have his name, and he creates this chant. And he goes, "Oh eunuch, I pronounce you a eunuch. Oh weakling, I've made you a weakling. Oh childless one, I've made you child." You know, stuff like this. And then he takes a rock and he smashes the herb, trying to make this guy infertile. The concept between fertility, both male and female, is very big in this Indus Valley religion. And it moves on more into Hinduism maybe than other things we'll talk about. But that is crucial, is that the sacred and the sexual are kind of linked together. Okay? Now, that's one half. It's actually a smaller half, maybe like 70-30 of Hinduism. The second group we need to understand are a people from up here. Now let's see how much we know about words. They come from this area. Does anybody know what that area is called? Anybody? Not Georgia, not Azerbaijan. It's named the mountain range. Joseph Stalin was from there? Anybody? I think I spelled that right. I may not have, actually. Ooh. But the Caucasus. Why did I do that? That wasn't what I was supposed to do. Oh, let's just take a phone call. Hello. Hi. Donovan? No, he's not. Uh-huh. There we go. Did I spell it right? C-A-U-C-S-U-S? C-A-U-C-S-U-S. Caucasus. No? A-S-U-S. Caucasus. It is a mountain range. What word comes from Caucasus, do you think? What word describing a person? Yeah. Caucasian. Okay, Caucasian. So anybody from Europe or anybody in India, those people are Caucasians. Okay? Caucasian is very broad, and the group, it comes from the word Caucasus. It's a mountain range there. Now, the group of people that come out of the Caucasus are known as Aryans. Next thing we can go about words. What two countries do you think are named after the Aryans? That's not what I wanted. Sorry, I just want to make sure that I knew that Caucasus was spelled right. Let's take some guesses. What two countries? What is happening here? What two countries would be named after the Caucasus? Okay, Arabia. Okay, we have, how does that work? What two countries would be named after the Aryans? Okay, the Aryan group from the Caucasus moved down. What one sounds like Aryan? What? Iran is one. Iran is named after the Aryans, just the land of the Aryans. What's another one? No. We don't have the N there. No, but I like that. Syria, good guess. Okay, Saudi Arabia, good guess. It's not in the Middle East, it's in Europe. What one would sound like it? Not Italy, but good guess.
Ireland.
Ireland. So we have two countries named after these Aryans, okay? These Aryans, two countries are named after these guys, okay? The reason that they are so popular, and they become later, I don't know if you've ever heard, has anybody ever heard the term Aryan before? No? What have you heard in connection with?
So are Aryans
Okay.
the second group?
Yes, Aryans are the second group. What do you hear the word Aryan in connection with? Nazis! Because Hitler goes in and he says, these are the original people, the Aryans, the Caucasians, these are the guys. He calls himself Aryan, and he takes the term and he takes a lot of holy symbols from Hinduism, right? The swastika itself is a Hindu symbol for peace, okay? And he steals it all, and he claims that it's going to be the Aryans, okay? So that's where it says, this is where the Aryans come from. This is where the name Aryan comes from, if you ever hear that again. Okay? So, what they do is they move down. They move down into the Indus Valley. And they don't necessarily conquer. They're pretty good at war, but they don't conquer. They kind of just mix in with the Indus Valley. And we see a new concept come in. The first thing they bring in is something called a caste system. Okay? First thing they bring in is something called a caste system. Where do I write this? A caste system. So write this down. Caste system. Okay. So, if you'll remember, when we drew our picture of Brahma, there were 4 groups, right? This is how humans are spread into. Now, these are social classes. Okay? There are 4 social classes. What are the 4 social classes? What's the mouth? What social class does that represent? The priests. Okay? The priests. What about the arms? What social class does that represent? The warriors. What do we say it in? What's the original word for it? Kshatriya. Kshatriya. What about the legs? What do the legs represent? Peasants, traders, stuff like that. Okay. And the feet, what do the feet represent? Laborers. Okay. Now this is very distinct. Do we have social classes in America? What are the social classes in America? Middle class? Upper class? Lower class. Right? 3 classes. What is class based on in America? Money. It's based on money. It's not based on education. And it's not based on your competence. It's not based where you're born. It's all based on money. Okay? You're upper class if you're rich. You're lower class if you're poor. You're middle class if you're in the middle. That's what it is. It's not based on anything else. Not based on your color. It's not based on your race. Not based on your language. It's not based on how much money you've got. That's what it is based on in America. Right? Now, this is not what it is based on everywhere else. A caste system. Now here's the other question. In America, in this system, can you move up and down? Could you become, if you were rich, could you become poor? And if you are poor, can you become rich? Yes. You can change your class system. You don't have to stay in it. Okay, you don't. That is one of the great dreams of America, is that you can be poor and be rich. Or you can be rich, you know, if you lose it, you lose it. Right? Everyone earns their own way. This is not the case in Hinduism or in India. They have a very strict caste system. Very strict. You do not move out of your caste system. Do you move out of your caste system? No, you do not move out of this. If you are born a Shudra, you stay a Shudra. If you are born a Brahmin, you stay a Brahmin. Okay? You are born, stay what you are born into. This is crucial to understand. They do not change. You don't move up, you don't move down. If you're bad at being a soldier, you don't move down in this life. It's the next life that you move into. Okay. So they bring with them this concept. Yes, ma'am?
What if your parents like from 2 different classes?
You don't have parents from 2 different classes. The only way that you have parents from different classes would be if you didn't know who the father was, which generally doesn't happen as well as much today, but in traditional studies of Hinduism in the Indian subcontinent, we don't see that a lot. And then you would just be the caste of the mother because you don't know who the father is. But usually, like, you don't marry people outside of your class. You don't even marry up. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you were, say for example, you fell in love, you were a Shudra, and you fell in love with someone below you, what's the class below a Shudra? Oh, nice. What's the class below Kshatriya? What? Okay, legs. We'll just say legs. Okay. So if you're in arms, if you're a soldier and you fall in love with a peasant, you just don't marry him. It's just not what happens. Just don't get married. You only marry people within your class. You only marry with people within your class. In very, very few cases we have seen a girl will move up classes. Okay? But in a lot of cases, if a man wants to marry a girl in a lower class, he will actually drop down classes. He will be downgraded. But this is a very uncommon thing to see. Very uncommon. And it's very interesting in New India how Hindus have dealt with this because just because of this new thing. They have a new thing. They even coined the phrase recently called love marriages, where you get married because of love rather than just being set up because you're part of the same social class. Okay, this is a new thing. This is not old. So, did that answer your question?
Yes.
You only marry people within that class. Okay. So there are the 4 social classes. You stay in them. Now, let's go back to this idea of cyclical concept, because they bring the cycle with them. Okay? What's happening over there? Getting your lunch money ready? What's... Okay. It's cyclical. Okay? What this means is, you start off your life, okay? So this is birth. You live life, and you die. Right? You live life, and you die. This is true for everyone, right? Is anyone not clear on that that's how your life is going to go? You were all born, you're all living now, and at someday, guess what? Everyone in this room is dying. Okay? Just so you're aware of that. Just, I don't want to scare any of you, but that will happen. Okay? So the concept here is that throughout this, you have a couple of things that you want to watch. First word, now these are some big ones. We'll probably go over a lot of these before, but I'm going to teach you 4 very important words. The first is your dharma. Dharma. D-H-A-R-M-A. Your dharma. Dharma, the best way that I can describe dharma, you don't have to write it in the middle of your circle. I would write it somewhere else because I'm going to describe it. I'm sorry that I wrote it in the middle of the circle. I know I'm frustrating most of you. I apologize. Sorry, 3rd period. Thanks for being patient with me, by the way.
So did the Aryans bring this concept too, or is this just...
The Aryans are bringing this concept. Every concept I teach you now is either a combination of the two or brought by the Aryans. Okay? The Indus Valley River Civilization, we only know that they did the ritual purifications. Okay? Which is where we see bathing in the river Ganges, right? Stuff like that. Which we'll talk about later. Dharma, the best way to describe your dharma is your duty.
The right conduct.
Right conduct. Right? Or duty. Okay? So if you are a Shudra, your dharma is to be a good Shudra. If you are a female Shudra, it's different than if you're a male Shudra. Okay? If you are of the priest class, your dharma is different than if you're in the warrior class. If you are a young man, your dharma is different than if you're an old man. If you're a father, your dharma is different than if you're single. Your dharma changes according to your life, but the key is you must do your dharma well. Okay? So if you are a student, your job now is to be a student. That's your job. You'll be the best student you can. That's your duty. That's your dharma. That's what you are. Okay? This relates to your karma. Okay? Karma is not the way that you understand it, that like, oh, I did something bad, so something bad's going to happen back to me. It kind of is that way, but it's not in this life. Does that make sense? It is not in this life that happens, karma. In this life, you just do what you do. Okay? So let's take, for example, generally, is killing someone a bad thing?
Yes.
Yeah, generally, right? If you're a soldier and you go to war, is killing something a bad thing?
No.
No, that's your duty. It's your dharma. Maybe in our concept, but in this concept, you have a job to do. You're a soldier. You go kill someone. That's your job. If you do that well, you're doing good dharma, you get good karma. Okay? You'll get good karma. Karma is the accumulation of your good or bad, your association with your dharma. The good things or the bad things you have done. Okay? In this life, according to where you are born and what you are supposed to do. Okay? Now, we have dharma and we have karma. Now, let's say this. Say you were a Shudra in your life. Hey, guess what? I'm a Shudra. My life sucks. I'm sorry. What can I do? Well, I'll tell you what you can do. You can live your life well and hope that next time you come back, your karma is good enough that you get bumped up another class. So say you're a Shudra, you go back. Now, if you don't do your dharma well, then you get bumped down a class. Maybe you were a priest who sucked at being a priest. You get bumped down your class. Does that make sense? Okay. Those two words, dharma and karma. Now, I'm not going to describe the next two words, but I want you to remind me of them. Brahman and Atman. Okay? Brahman and Atman. Okay? Brahman and Atman. We're not going to go over those. I think we're done for today. Okay. No.